Let's Go Race, the channel for virtual motorsport.
Hello and welcome to a new video on my YouTube channel. First ein Info to my German-speaking viewers. Dieses Video ist auch mit deutschem Kommentar verfügbar. Der Link zum deutschsprachigen Video findet ihr in der Videobeschreibung. This video is about the Cube Controls F-Pro Sim Racing steering wheel. First, I will show you the steering wheel in detail in this video. I will talk about the different components used and included in the package, say something about the materials and explain how the steering wheel feels. After that, I will give you a conclusion about the steering wheel. And at the end of the video, I will do a test drive with the steering wheel in form of my triple screen onboard videos in my motion simulator. Included in the package is the steering wheel and a USB cable, a sticker kit, a bag to store the steering wheel, mounting screws to screw the steering wheel to your steering wheel system, and tools for the different areas of the steering wheel. Let's start with the materials and the technical details of the steering wheel. The steering wheel has a diameter or width of 285 mm and weighs about 1100 grams. The small diameter, which is also used in most Formula cars, gives you a decisive advantage in terms of reaction time compared to steering wheels with a larger diameter. This is also the reason why Formula cars often have steering wheels with a smaller diameter. The two grips have a maximum thickness and depth of 33 mm at the thickest point, which is the thickness which the grips have towards the back. In the grip area of a thumb and index finger, it is about 28 mm in width and 39 mm in depth. Both grips are injection molded rubber grips and are very well made. By using this material, the steering wheel can be driven without gloves without any problems. In addition, the grips have an extremely good grip due to the rubber-like material. The grips are also very well shaped and fit perfectly in the hand. On the back of the grips there is also a small plastic area with a rough surface, in the area where we place our index finger around the grip. The housing of the steering wheel is made of CNC machined aluminium and is matte black anodized with a rough surface. At the front of the steering wheel there is a carbon front plate with a matte finish. The aluminium housing and the carbon plate are both very well made and look very good. Now it's on to the buttons, the toggle switches, the rotary switches and the funky switch joysticks. The steering wheel has 12 push buttons. The buttons are all made of plastic. Each individual push button has RGB lighting and can be configured via the software. I will show you what this RGB lighting looks like at the later part of the video. The push buttons can also be personalized with the sticker kit included in the package. The buttons have a single point of resistance. The resistance point of the buttons is very tight and also has only a short push range. In addition, the buttons make a really nice and audible click sound when we press them. In summary, the push buttons feel extremely good and tight and give a very good feedback. Let's continue with the two toggle switches. The two toggle switches have two positions in which they can engage. On the PC, however, the toggle switches are only recognized as one signal, so we have only one function on each of the two toggle switches. When we press down, the same signal is sent to the PC as when we press up. The toggle switch is very tight, is very easy to use and also makes a nice and audible click sound. In addition, both toggle switches have a green status LED. When I press the toggle switch upwards, this LED is activated. This is very helpful for functions such as the wipers or the headlights. We can always see very clearly from the LED whether we have activated the headlights or not. However, you must note the following here. The LED always lights up when the toggle switch is pressed upwards. So if you start a race and the toggle switch is pressed upwards, the LED will also light up, regardless of whether the headlights are activated or deactivated. You should therefore press the toggle switch down before each session, because the headlights are normally always deactivated at the start of a session. The LEDs have no direct connection to the simulation and only light up when the toggle switch is pressed up. If you have started a session and have forgotten to change the LED, it is enough to go into the menu or press pause in the simulation to move the toggle switch in the right direction. I usually use the two toggle switches for the headlights and wipers. Now we continue with the 4 rotary switches in the center of the steering wheel. All rotary switches have 16 positions in which they can engage. On the PC, the rotary switches are recognized with two signals. Turning clockwise is a function and turning anti-clockwise is a function. All 4 rotary switches can be turned infinitely. The resistance of the rotary switches is very tight and the engagement points can be felt very well. In addition, the rotary switches are very large and are therefore very easy to grab with 2 fingers. This is exactly how rotary switches should feel. The rotary knobs are made of anodized aluminium and have a matte rough surface. The rotary switches look very good and are very well made. Now we come to the 2 blue rotary switches above the grips and the 2 black rotary switches on the sides. The 2 blue rotary switches have 18 positions in which they engage and the 2 black rotary switches have 16 positions in which they engage. The rotary switches are recognized on the PC with 2 signals. Turning clockwise is a function and turning anti-clockwise is a function. All 4 rotary switches can be turned infinitely. The resistance of the rotary switches is very tight and the engagement points can be felt very well. These rotary switches are much smaller and can only be adjusted with the thumb. All 4 rotary switches are very easy to reach with the thumb and, in my opinion, very easy to use. The rotary knobs are made of anodized aluminium and have a matte black and rough surface. The rotary switches look very good and are very well made. Now we come to the two funky switch joysticks. Here we have 7 functions. The first function is the push function. Here the joystick works like a push button. The push function is very tight, has only one point of resistance, has a short push travel and makes a nice and well audible click sound. In addition, the joystick can be pushed left, up, right and down. The resistance of the 4-way function is tight and very easy to feel. The click sound can also be heard very well here. I also think that the control of the 4-way function works particularly well and easily. It is often the case with such joysticks that it is difficult to press in a certain direction. This is completely different here. Just because you press the joystick a little crookedly, you don't have to worry about pressing the joystick in the wrong direction. The guidance of the 4-way function is very precise and straight. The joystick can also be used as a rotary switch. The rotary switch function has 30 positions in which it engages. On the PC, the rotary switch function is recognized with 2 signals. Turning clockwise is a function and turning anti-clockwise is a function. The rotary switch function can be rotated infinitely. The rotary switch function engages noticeably in each of the 30 positions. The resistance and engagement of the different positions is very tight. The resistance is not quite as high as with the large rotary switches. However, because the joystick is also much smaller, it was a good decision to not make it quite as tight as the large rotary switches. In summary, the joystick is a very good and helpful function with which you can, for example, navigate in the menu, navigate in the pit menu during the race, or also make settings in the iRacing black box. The joystick knob is made of aluminium and has a matte blue anodized finish. Although the joystick is very small, its shape and notches make it very easy to use. Now to the last point on the front of the steering wheel. The frames and button guards of the push buttons, toggle switches and funky switches. The frames and button guards are made of aluminium and are matte black. The frames and button guards not only enhance the appearance of the steering wheel, but also have a useful function. The frames make it much easier to feel where the buttons are, as the buttons are embedded in the steering wheel. This is especially helpful when driving with motorsport gloves. The button guards also protect the buttons from being pressed accidentally while driving. 4 of the button guards are clearly more extended than the others. The 2 outer button guards at the top outside next to the toggle switches, and the 2 button guards next to the funky switch joysticks. These 4 button guards are slightly deeper than the other button guards. You have to put your finger into the button guard to be able to press the button. Although these button guards are slightly deeper and therefore also a bit more narrow, you can press the buttons very well with or without gloves. Now we come to the RGB lighting of the steering wheel. Each push button has its own internal RGB lighting. In addition, the 4 rotary switches in the center and the 2 black rotary switches on the side also have their own RGB lighting. This RGB lighting can be individually adjusted with the Cube Control software. Here we can adjust the color and also the brightness as desired. Each individually button or each individually RGB lighting can be adjusted separately. Because of the RGB lighting, all colors are available. The lighting not only looks extremely good, but is also very useful when driving in a dark room, for example. The colors can also be adjusted so that they help you to find where you have a particular function. If that's not enough, a very comprehensive sticker kit is included in the scope of delivery, with which you can customize the steering wheel even more. With the sticker kit, you really have a very large selection to design the steering wheel the way you like it and how you want to use the individual functions. The stickers look great and stick extremely well. I really have to say, Cube Controls has put together one of the best sticker kits I have seen so far. An extremely large selection of functions and many different shapes to be able to attach a sticker to every part of the steering wheel. Especially in stressful situations and long races where you sometimes forgot a function on the steering wheel, such stickers are very helpful. The next step is on the back. On the back are the 2 magnetic shifters. The 2 magnetic shifters are made of aluminium and carbon. The aluminium part of the shifter has an anodized matte black surface. The part of the shifter that is made of carbon and the 2 carbon pedals have a matte and smooth surface. The shifters really feel extremely good. The shift travel is short and very tight. The shifters also make a very nice and loud clicking sound. In addition, both shifters are also adjustable in angle. You can also change the position of the carbon pedals. The shifters have all the adjustments you need to personalize the position of the shifter pedals and really feel extremely good. The steering wheel has also two clutch pedals. The materials and workmanship are the same as for the shifters. The resistance of the clutches is generated by a spring and is very tight. I personally find the strength of the resistance very good. The handling is very precise and the clutches are very fast to control because of the high resistance. Of course, the clutches can also be adjusted. We have the possibility to change the clutch travel and we have the possibility to change the position of the pedals. The clutches can be used separately or in combination. How we want to use them is set via the software. Separately, we could even use the pedals as brake and throttle, or we could just use one of the two clutches. If we use the clutches separately, a signal is sent from each of the two clutches to the PC. If we want to use the clutch pedals in combination, as it is in the Formula 1, then we have to set this in the software. If we have checked the combined box, both clutch pedals are combined. Only one signal is then sent from both clutches to the PC. Using the byte point control in the software, we can now set the percentage of the clutch travel in which the right hand clutch sends signals. The signal of the left clutch is not directly influenced by this control and continues to give signals over the entire working range. So with the byte point, we only set the range in which the right clutch works or sends signals. We set this byte point to the point at which the clutch of your car starts to engage. So if the clutch of your car starts to engage about 30%, or the car starts to roll at this point, we set the byte point to this value. If we now pull the right clutch fully, this is exactly the point at which the clutch starts to engage and the car starts to roll. However, because we have to fully depress the clutch at the start to engage the first gear, we also have to depress the left clutch. When the start light turns green, we only release the left clutch. With the right clutch, we are now exactly at the point where the car starts to roll, and we can release the clutch with the right clutch pedal to start. With this function, perfect starts are possible, because you do not have to search for the slip point at the start. You are directly at the slip point with the right clutch pedal. There are two ways to connect your steering wheel to your PC. You can connect the steering wheel with the USB cable included in the scope of delivery, or you can connect the steering wheel to your PC via Bluetooth. The USB cable is about 94 centimeters long and has a spiral part that makes the cable a bit longer and more flexible. The cable is connected to your steering wheel via a very strong magnetic mechanism and sits bomb-proof. On the other side, there is USB A 2.0. If your PC has a Bluetooth receiver, the steering wheel can also be connected via Bluetooth. The steering wheel has the same functions via Bluetooth as via USB. The two clutches and the RGB lighting also work via Bluetooth. To be able to use the steering wheel via Bluetooth, a battery is built into the steering wheel, which is charged via the USB cable. It takes about 2 to 4 hours to fully charge the battery, depending on the USB connection. The fastest way is of course via a USB 3.0 or a USB hub with power supply. The battery life depends mainly on the RGB lighting. When the RGB lighting is switched off, the battery lasts about 50 to 60 hours. When the RGB lighting is switched on, the battery life decreases depending on how bright the RGB lighting is set. At maximum brightness of the RGB lighting, the battery lasts about 10 hours. It is also possible to connect the steering wheel to the PC via Bluetooth and charge it with the cable at the same time. In this case, the steering wheel charges via the cable and the data transfer goes via Bluetooth. The battery status can be seen under the Bluetooth devices connected to the PC. Soon it will also be possible to see the battery status in the Cube controlled software. On the steering wheel to the right of the left toggle switch, there is also a status LED that shows the approximate battery status. Green when fully charged, yellow when the battery still has enough power, and when the battery has less than 5%, the LED flashes red. We find another status LED on the right side. To the left of the toggle switch is the Bluetooth status LED, which shows us if there is a Bluetooth connection between the steering wheel and our system. On the back we find the on-off switch on the right side. On the left side is the antenna so that the steering wheel can connect to your PC via Bluetooth. In the lower area is the connection for the USB cable. To attach the steering wheel to your system, this mounting adapter is on the back. This is made entirely of aluminum and has a matte black anodized finish. As you can see, you have the option of using different mounting variants with this adapter. We can use the 50mm variant and the 70mm variant. Each variant can be fixed with 6 screws. 3 holes of each variant already have a thread. I use the 50mm variant with 3 screws. This is completely sufficient, and because 3 of the holes already have a thread, I can use the 3 screws that are included in the scope of delivery. This saves me having to use nuts, because I can fasten the quick release directly with the 3 screws. that's all there is to say about the steering wheel. Now we come to the final conclusion and the cost of the steering wheel. The Cube Controls F Pro has a price of €860. VAT and shipping cost must then be added. The Cube Controls F Pro is one of the most comprehensive steering wheels I've been able to test so far. You have 12 push buttons, 2 toggle switches with integrated status LED, 8 rotary switches, and 2 funky switch joysticks with 7 functions. In addition, 2 magnetic shifters and 2 clutches which feel excellent like all the other buttons, rotary switches and toggle switches. Special attention is paid to the RGB lighting, which works not only with the USB connection but also with the Bluetooth connection. You can adjust all buttons and lights individually as you like. There are really not many comparable steering wheels that offer so many functions at once. Despite the many functions, all buttons, rotary switches and toggle switches are very easy to reach while driving. I also really like the 2 grips. They fit very well in the hand, have a lot of grip, and by using injection molded rubber grips you can use the steering wheel very well with or without gloves. With a width of 284mm, the steering wheel has a very comfortable diameter with which a wide range of cars can be simulated and driven. All in all, this is probably one of the most complete steering wheels on the market. The steering wheel really leaves nothing to be desired and I can more than recommend it to you. Another new product that Cube Controls has launched are the sim racing socks, which I will now introduce before we get to the test drive with the steering wheel. The Cube Controls sim racing socks are designed so that you can drive without shoes, also with pedals with a high resistance. Both socks have a reinforced and padded heel area so that the heel is a bit more protected and can be comfortably put down. This means you can drive for a very long time without your heel starting to hurt. One of the socks has a rubberized PVC sole so that your feet don't slip away and you have more grip. This can be compared very well with normal ABS socks. The socks are very comfortable and you can also drive very well with hydraulic pedals without pain. Both socks can be worn on both feet. One pair of socks costs €34 including VAT. I hope you enjoyed the video and I was able to answer all your questions. If you have any further questions, you can write them in the comments. A link to the steering wheel is also in the video description. Now we come to the promised triple screen onboard video in my motion simulator. Have fun with it and see you next time.